Hi guys, and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 960, 961, 962, kind of. We're putting all of these reviews into one video. Where have I been, you asked? A lot of things have happened. I went to visit my friends a couple weeks ago, and we were supposed to actually do like the weekly reviews together because she's also a fan of One Piece, Hiroaka, and figure skating. And as you may have noticed, we only uploaded the figure skating video because the second day I was there, we went skating and she messed up her foot, and we ended up, instead of doing videos, we ended up going to the hospital and I had to take care of her, and it was all really, really awful. And the easiest thing we ended up doing was doing the figure skating one because that's easier to talk about than doing like an in-depth review of a chapter. And then I was fully supposed to just come back and do videos like normally, and then I got the flu. And I had the flu for a good like 10 days, which was very annoying. I've never had the flu for that long. And now I have a cold. It's just, I don't know, my body's just giving up on me. So that's where I've been. I'm still a little bit sniffy, so I'm gonna try to not sound really dead. But that's what's been up, and that's kind of why the videos have been like disappearing again, even though I really wanted to do videos. I kind of actually made a couple videos, but it just didn't turn out that good, and I was really sniffly. I also did, the reason this is out late, because I was gonna do my One Piece stuff yesterday, because I usually do them Monday after they come out, and I did the live reaction to 961 and 962, because I said in my Hiroaka video that I wanted to do that because I wanted to catch up. But kind of going through it again, I wasn't very happy with how it turned out. I thought my reactions were kind of like, they were a little bit dull, which I think was, again, an onslaught of the cold I was about to get. And also just because, like, there were parts of this flashback that were kind of, like, not necessarily boring, but just, like, not like, you know, oh my god, kind of moments. I only had, like, a couple of those, and I'm gonna go through what I really, really liked about this, because I had a couple of moments where I went, oh my god, that's really cool. But not really enough to sustain, like, uploading that 30-minute reaction that I did. So that's why we're moving to the review instead, because I was gonna upload it yesterday, but I wasn't very happy with it. So we're redoing my One Piece video now, and we're doing a review instead of a reaction. And we're going through the Oden flashback. So, I think at this point, my Hiroaka videos are up, and I did a really, really long 55-minute video talking about one chapter where I go through the entire chapter panel by panel because I thought it was so good. I will do that a little bit here, but I'm going to try to keep it around 30 minutes to see, just because there's more to talk about, but there's less content for me to really get through because we're in a flashback, and some of the things that are happening we kind of already know of. So let's start getting into the actual review. It's been 3 minutes of nothing now. But yeah, I'm really happy we're getting into this flashback now rather than later, just because there's been so much mystery surrounding Oden and like what exactly kind of character he is, just because I feel like every time we get a little bit new tidbit of information, it's like, well, he seems like this kind of person, or he seems like this kind of person, and now we're really getting to see his like true colors. I don't know why I'm doing this. It is his true colors because it's like actually him being the main focus of the story. I really like his very free-spirited personality, and his unique outlook on life, because he seems to not conform to a lot of the norms that they have in Wano. His way of showing respect seems different. He seems to have a different idea of that. His way of leading is different. His way of expressing himself is different. And I really, really like that. There's actually a panel, and this was not the panel I wanted to talk about first, actually. This panel here, 961, where he's basically challenging the mountain god pig thing, holding up the little piglet. I said in my reaction, as one of my highlights from that this panel, for some odd reason, seems really vulgar to me. And I think it's because it's like his silhouette is highlighted in such a way that you really pay attention to the fact that he's very covered up in the upper area, and then he just has bare legs, and it just kind of feels like his dick is falling out. But it's such a very, very interesting way to frame him, because this kind of panel, this kind of like way to structure it and like put shadows on him and stuff, it's this epic way to frame a person. And you have it a couple times with Luffy and other characters where they just look really, really cool. But here, the the thing I'm kind of getting, like, he's holding up a little tiny pig and he's wearing no pants. It kind of gives this idea of Oden being this very unique person who kind of goes out of the social norm of Wano, which upon like rethinking it, I really like it, even though in my reaction I was kind of like, this is a lot to me. It kind of reminds me of when Frankie was recruited and he was running around with no pants. So yeah, that was a really nice panel for me. One of the panels I really wanted to talk about was this one where he cuts the mountain god in half. This is just a cool panel, but I just really like it because I feel like it's been a while since we've had a really good swordsman fight panel like this, because usually those kind of panels, they go to Zoro, but Zoro hasn't had a good fight in a while, and that's mainly because his opponents have been weak, or just not at a level where he would go all out, which has been just a shame, really. I would have loved for him to have some better fights, because his fights just generally look really, really cool, but I don't think we've had that for a long time. So this panel just made me really, really happy, and it made me think of like a lot of my favorite Zoro moments, which were, a lot of them are from before the time skip. But that panel looked so good to me, and just the way like the teeth and the tusks of the pig are like all around, and you can just see through it. It's such a clean cut. It just looks really, really good, and it really shows how strong he is. Like this is how Zoro is framed when we're supposed to be like, damn, he's so strong, and Oden is framed that exact same way, and it just looks super, super cool. And it's a really good way to establish how strong he is as a character, because we associate this kind of panel setting-ish thing, the way this panel is set up, we kind of associate that with other strong swordsmen like Zoro, Mihawk, others. So I really, really like the visual storytelling, that just visually saying, ooh, he's really strong, by putting it in a panel like this. So that's super, super cool. And I quite like, we have like this, how to say it, like this moment with Kinemon, because Kinemon is obviously like, ooh, it's my fault that this place got wrecked so much by the mountain god because of what I did with the little pig and stuff like that. And I love the moment where he's like, I'm gonna tell everyone the truth about what happened here. And Oden just kind of like punched him, like, don't be an idiot, like, just let me take the blame for it, you know? And he kind of gains his little following here first of the first two people who start to follow him. And that I really love, just Kinemon through the entire chapter was really, really great. And then my second kind of like, whoa moment from my reaction, I'm just gonna recreate it here because I had like 2 or 3 of them, and it's just like, this bastard boy, Orochi, listen, bruh, my dude, I really don't like him. First of all, I love younger Yasui, that was great, and I really love his personality like here, and he's not smiling. It's really, really good. But just, goddamn Orochi, I'm gonna see if I can and find a good way to say this. I don't dislike Orochi as a character. I dislike him as a villain. However, I don't like him as a character either. Because for me right now, he's very much boiled down to, he's a bad guy, you're not supposed to like him, there's absolutely no redeeming factors to him. Even in these 2 chapters where we meet him and we see him like stealing the money from Yasui and then blaming Oden for it, like there's just no redeemable factor about him. There's nothing for now that makes us seem like, oh, this is why he's doing it. He's not just like a wicked bastard power hungry dude who just goes around doing whatever. I don't have, you know, there's nothing about him that makes me go, oh, this is why he's like this, you know? And this is not always an issue. The issue I have with it is that he doesn't have a reason, on top of being very dislikable as a character, unlike someone like Kaido, who I still don't have, we don't have much information on him. However, he's a cool character, and I like him as a villain because the way his personality is, the way he interacts with our characters, the way he kind of uses his strength and uses his, not uses his power, but shows off his power. Like, there's things and actions behind his words where Orochi, he comes off, in the present day, he comes off as quite cowardly, he comes off as a little bit paranoid, very selfish, kind of beyond reasoning to some points. And this Orochi, this little bastard, is just infuriating. Like, that moment with the money, it's just like, there's nothing redeemable about him. And I just want a little bit of, it doesn't even need to be a good reason for why he's like this. I just need like a little bit, because his character, his personality is very annoying. And this could just be the point of his character. And that would not be bad. I'm not going to put it down as, ooh, this is really bad writing. It's just that I personally want a little bit more from him, even if the reasonings are, like, really questionable. The fact that there's nothing, like, substantial where I can be like, ooh, this is why he's like this, or he just annoys me, you know? He makes me angry. And that is not a bad thing. That's a really good thing. But I'm also I'm searching for something. And I know I'm really contradicting myself and being like, I don't like him, I like him, and I think this is good, but I think this is bad. It just... Orochi. I'm having a difficult time with him. But I don't mind it so far. It's just, in the long run, because he's one of the bigger villains, at the very least, Kaido's the main villain, so this would have been really bad if Orochi had been the main bad guy, but he's not. He's not. Can I go to the next chapter? Yes. So we talked with Yasui a bit and yada yada. I'm not gonna just recap the entire thing. I love, not this part. Where we start going out into the world. Here, I think it is, yes. So where we start going out and start recruiting people slowly, it's a little earlier. Here. These parts. We start meeting, like, the vassals and stuff. I love that part, because I thought we were gonna very slowly go through that, and I was very scared that we were gonna, like, really stretch out this flashback and be, like, dedicate a chapter per vassal, because it seemed like we focused so much on Kinemon, but that kind of makes sense, because Kinemon is a bigger character than a lot of the other vassals, just because we've known him for so long. But yeah, I love that we kind of get, like, it's per page we kind of get like 2 or 3 of these vassals, and then we kind of have Ashura as this final person to overcome / recruit / whatever we do to him. And this is where another really standout panel for me is, if I can just find it right here. This one, where he's sitting on top of him, he's defeated, like, every single bandit, he's basically taking over Kuri at this point, and he just looks super badass, even though there are gashes in his legs, there are arrows coming out of his shoulders and back. He just looks badass as shit. And it looks really, really cool. It's a little bit of a shame that we don't get to see the fight, but he just drags them, so that kind of, like, it's okay. And then I love his line here. He said, "I've decided that these wordless hooligans need me as their king." I love that, because he doesn't seem like the type to, want to settle down, become a daimyo, lead a bit of country. But he just has this strong conviction of what he thinks should be happening. And again, he's free-spirited. He's a bit like Luffy. He comes off as not caring about the right thing to do and just things like that, but he has a sense of honor and, like, I kind of want to count a responsibility to others. Like, he knows that he can do something for other people that will make a substantial difference, so he chooses to do that because he knows he has the power, the charisma, and kind of like all the makings of a person who could lead and make something really good out of everyone else. And I like that a lot. I really love when people like Oden, people who seem so free-spirited, when they take up this task as a leader, because it seems like it's a very constricting role, because decisions you make directly impact everyone else who follow you. and very free-spirited, kind of like whimsical, how can you say, impulsive people. They tend to be selfish and tend to not really, not necessarily not care about the consequences of their actions, but more like, oh, I can deal with this later on. It only affects me and stuff like that. But having him in a leader role after kind of introducing him as this person who just, he doesn't care what people think of him. He does things that are the social norm, regardless of how people treat him afterwards. It really goes to show like his convictions and stuff. Like, I really, really like it. I really love the setup of him just like being introduced as this like, I don't want to call him ruffian because that's not really the word, but again, this like impulsive, I do things my own way person, and then going into like, I am gonna become their king. It's not a role that's thrust upon him, it's a role that he chose for himself, and I love that so much because going into the flashback, it seemed like he was just gonna amass this following who saw him for who he truly was, and then suddenly he was the daimyo because he just had a huge following. But no, he takes it upon himself. He says, I am gonna be their king, and I love that so much. Another standout panel, which is my thumbnail for the video, is this one here. This one, where the art style completely changes. You have this more traditional Japanese art style. It looks like it's been like brush art. It just looks really great when you have Oden here with his vassals. And it was such a good panel. I really like. It struck me because it really fits the theme of the entire flashback. So that's really nice. He is then appointed the daimyo of Kuri. He's no longer disowned by... I want to call him Sukiyaki. Is that his name? I know it's food. Yeah. Oh, I also completely forgot about this. I love Ashura. I've said this before when he's appeared in the main story, but I really, really love him. I love him when he smiles and being really soft because he's introduced both in the main story and in this story as this really tough samurai guy who just kind of like goes by on like the samurai's code, and he's just really strong. And then here he smiles with Oden and he says, This is the first time I've ever known peace. Thank you. It's super cute. Like, I really, really love him. I'm so excited to just see more of him in the main story. So, yeah, multiple points to Ashura. And then we have a time skip of 6 years going into 33 years before present day. And this is the part where I'm like, this is where, for me, this flashback gets really exciting. We start out with... Okay, let me just read this part. A full 33 years before the present day, the remnants of the legendary former Rocks pirates began to gather new comrades, steadily expanding their claims and infamy. And then we have a panel of Big Mom, Whitebeard, Kaido in the middle here, Roger off to the side, and then I'm assuming this person behind Big Mom is Shiki. And this panel is really interesting to me because obviously those are like 5 of the biggest names from the Rocks pirates. But the fact that we're showing all of them makes me think that in this flashback, we're probably going to meet all of them, which would be great because we know, obviously, when it comes to Oden, he has a connection with Roger, Whitebeard, and Kaido. Those 3 we know for certain will be featured in this flashback if we're going to see the whole story. Big Mom and Shiki, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more iffy about. I can kind of see Shiki because Shiki was the rival of Roger. So therefore, if we follow the part where Oden is with Roger, we might see Shiki like that. But I have no clue about Big Mom because Big Mom to me is a bit of a mystery. Because did she from the get-go decide, like after the Rock Pirates, like, oh, I'm going to settle down on Whole Cake Island, have a bunch of children, and make that my army, basically, or my pirate crew, because she has some children that are older, but it could just be that she starts like having children and travels around and does things before she really settles down into Whole Cake. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing, especially because Big Mom is at the forefront here, which makes me really think that we're gonna see her in this flashback, because why not just put Kaido there, Roger? It's not like we don't know their designs. All these characters are characters we know, characters where we've seen their faces. They've been in multiple flashbacks. They've had movies dedicated to them. Like, these aren't people that are unknown to us, so why decide to put Whitebeard and Big Mom in the forefront when it would make more sense to put Whitebeard and Roger, or Whitebeard and Kaido, or Roger and Kaido? Why Big Mom? I'm really interested in this particular choice. And then we end off the chapter with another great inclusion. This also hypes me up a lot. Nekomamushi and Inuarashi arrive to Wano in a shipwreck. And this makes me excited because this will be the inclusion of the outside world to Wano. We know Oden wanted to open up the borders, and this will be probably his first contact with the outside world because when he tried to travel out multiple times, his ship got wrecked, is what we kind of got from the first part of the flashback. And this, the fact we have that, what are these animals? Hairy humans, monsters, creatures, they're unsettling. By a frog person. This will be their first interaction with minks. They will learn things about the outside world, and I'm really excited about this because we also know that Inuarashi and Nekomamushi used to travel with Whitebeard at the same time as Oden, I believe. So that's just great, amazing. And we know they met Roger, and so yeah, I'm super interested in going into the part where Oden leaves Wano, because those adventures feature into, like, what I'm gonna call the original lore of One Piece, where we have Roger and his crew, we have the Whitebeard pirates, we have the other emperors and stuff like that. And more about Shiki would also be great, because we don't have too much with him outside of, like, or in, like, what I'm gonna call, like, the main storyline from, like, chapter 1 to now, because he's in the movie. We have him in chapter 0, I think it is, and all those kinds of things. But I would love for more Shiki generally in the main story, because he tends to just kind of get name dropped. So yeah, that would be really, really interesting, just seeing, like, these old legends. And that is also, again, it helps make this arc or this flashback really interesting to me, because we can get into things that we've speculated about for years and that aren't just pertain to this particular arc and this particular character. Because Oden, especially as a dead person, despite his influence and all the other characters, a lot of the other characters here are temporary. Like, all the vassals, all the citizens of Wano, all that stuff, they're not gonna be permanent characters going forward into the story, because the story is focused on the Straw Hats. So the fact that we're pulling in stories from things that are more so intertwined with the Straw Hat storyline, that's gonna make this flashback really interesting, because we get both the parts of the story that are relevant to Wano as this arc. So we have Oden, his influence, his vassals, everything he did, yada yada, and we get things that will be relevant moving forward, and that's what excites me a lot. And it helps a lot that we spent 2 to 3 chapters building up Oden as this very likable character, a character who's not too different from Luffy, which is interesting because Luffy, I believe, is a really huge draw into why people like One Piece. I mean, I look, there's like world building and other, like, crazy things, but for me especially, what really keeps me going with One Piece when it goes on for this long, especially with Wano, which I've said it multiple times before, I'm not the biggest fan of this arc, but Luffy as a character really helps me, like, in times where it's difficult for me to connect with the story. It was the same with Dressrosa. I just like Luffy a lot, and having Oden, who has a lot of the same traits that I like about Luffy, being free-spirited, being determined and stubborn, and very much not caring what people think of him, that helps me a lot, because those are the kind of characters that I believe Oda is the best at writing. So yeah. I think that's what I have to say about these couple of chapters. I'm really sorry for the delay and for every break, but I was just really, really unlucky with these sicknesses and, like, people just breaking their ankles and shit. So yeah. I'm getting really into this flashback. I was a little bit on the fence in the beginning of it, but now I'm getting really into it in this this last chapter especially really got to me. And just, I'm happy that we're not spending unnecessary time with not Oden characters and not future big characters, if that makes any sense. Like I said, like, we're not spending too much time on the vassals because we do know them in the present time and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I have to say about these 2-3-ish chapters. I went more into depth with the last two because there's more reason for me, and the first was really just setting up Oden as a character, and then the little bit with Kinemon and the pig. So yeah. You can leave a like if you like anything that I had to say in this video. Leave in the comments below what you think of the flashback, what you think of Oden, and everything, all your thoughts, whatever you have to say. And you can subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, bye!